Kai is the weakest hunter, stuck on the bottom floor of the dungeon for ages. But after killing 1,000 slimes, he receives a very rare card that can summon the strongest servant. At the beginning of the story, Kato is standing in front of a slime. The slime goes to attack Kato, but he uses bug spray to kill it. We learn that he has been in the dungeon for 2 years, but he still has the lowest status because he can only kill slimes on the first floor. He has killed 999 slimes so far, and he wants to kill the 1,000th slime before going home. So he goes a little deeper into the dungeon where he sees a golden slime. He carefully sneaks up to it and attacks it with his bug spray, so the slime dodges him. Then he takes out his spray gun and hits the golden slime, but he's surprised to see that despite killing a rare slime, he hasn't leveled up. So he decides to take its magic core, as it must be worth a lot. But when he approaches the slime, he sees that it dropped a servant card. He calms himself down and checks the card's stats, which turn his suspicions into certainty. He looks around, not wanting anyone to steal it from him. He searches for information about the card, but there's no information about it in the database. But he sees that it's a Valkyrie card, and they are considered demigods, so he wonders if it's a rare card. On his way back, he meets some adventurers, whom he greets, but they ignore him and walk away. Seeing them, he wishes he had such amazing equipment, so he could be like them. He thinks that if the card sells for a high price, he'll be able to buy anything he wants. The receptionist, named Hitachuka, offers him 1,500 yuan for 3 slime cores. But before leaving, he asks how much the angel servant card will sell for. She tells him that such a card can fetch over 1 billion yuan. This surprises him. On his way back, he meets his friends Shinji and Hyoko, who reveal that they also have explorer passes, allowing them to enter attraction areas for free. They ask him if he's still at level 3. Kato says that if he just kills slimes, he won't level up quickly. Kato asks him why he isn't going back to the dungeon. They remind him of what happened the first time he went to the second floor. On the second floor, they encountered a goblin for the first time. They thought they would easily defeat it, but the goblin severely injured all 3 of them, forcing them to use potions to heal themselves. After this incident, they gave up. They ask him why he's still involved. He's been there for 2 years, and he still hasn't gotten bored? Kai says, I have a reason. When he gets home, his parents are worried that his work might affect his studies, but Kai assures them that he can manage. While bathing, he considers using a servant card, which might give him the power to access the deeper levels of the dungeon. But if he simply sells the card, he can buy anything he wants. The next day, on his way to school, he sees his classmate Ruka, and they start walking together. She saw him coming home late at night and asks him where he was. He lies, saying he was just walking around town with his friends. Just then, Shinji and Hyoko appear. He quickly pulls them aside and tells them to lie because he doesn't want her to know he goes to the dungeon. She asks them what they did yesterday, but they all give 3 different answers. Hearing this, Haruka assumes he went to the dungeon, but Kato assures her that's not the case. While they're all sitting in class, Kato asks his friends what they would do. If they found a rare servant card, they say that since servants can only be summoned in dungeons, they wouldn't be very useful. So the best option would be to sell it because they're so expensive. He knows their advice is right because once he summons a servant, he can't sell it, but he also wants to become stronger. After school, he goes to the dungeon. When he uses the card, a giant sea angel appears before him. He's about to catch it when it suddenly disappears. It has transformed into a sea girl who introduces herself as Sylphie. Seeing it, Kato thinks, she can't even carry my bag. He immediately regrets his decision as he's lost his money, and how can it make him a powerful angel? She asks him, are you okay? Kato says, yes, everything is fine, and asks him to come with her on a monster hunt. She immediately senses a slime, grabs its hand, and leads it to him. He's about to kill it with his spray. He then asks Sylphie to kill it, wanting to test its strength, so she attacks him with her divine lightning spell, leaving him wide-eyed. Sylphie says she's hungry. Kato realizes she wants to eat the slime's core, which he picks up and feeds to her. Just then, Sylphie senses more slimes and is about to kill them, but Kato stops her, saying he won't earn any money that way. She's eating the core of the slime she kills, then a flash of light goes off in his head, and he says, show me where it is. He then kills them with his spray, finally raising his level from 3 to 4. He also gains a skill called Slime Slayer, which increases all his stats by 50% when fighting slimes, but he thinks it's the Jamai Naily skill. Sylphie tries to cheer him up because he finally learned a skill. Hearing this brings tears to his eyes. Before leaving for home, he tells her, I'll summon you again. He then summons her back into his card by saying, return. When he goes to Hikugaya, she is surprised to see that he had so many slimes this time, and she tells him that no one has ever hunted so many slimes in one day, and that they cost 15,000 won. At night, Kei thinks about how powerful Sylphie is, and that with her help, perhaps he can even go to the second level of the dungeon, but he still fears the goblins. When he falls asleep, he dreams of a man named Captain Kosaragi, who went into the depths of the dungeon to reveal its mysteries, and everyone praises his bravery. The next day, he goes to the second level of the dungeon with Sylphie because he too wants to learn the truth about the dungeons and become a hero like Captain Kosaragi. But then his legs start shaking with fear, and Sylphie holds his hand, calming him down. Just then, Sylphie senses a goblin, but Kei starts running away. He remembers the captain's warning, thinking that if he continues to be afraid, he'll never be a hero. He slaps himself, which confuses Sylphie, but Kei says he's just preparing himself. They sneak up on the goblin. Kaito asks Sylphie to defeat him, as the mere sight of him is terrifying. She's about to use her divine lightning when Kaito changes his mind and wants to defeat him himself, but his legs start shaking again, and he tells Sylphie, "If you think I'm in trouble, please help me." He goes to attack the goblin, but the goblin evades him, and just as the goblin was about to attack him, he blocked it with his shield and pushed it away. Kaito attacked the goblin again, but this time he took his sword and threw it down. The goblin leapt at him, blinding him with his spray. He then raised his sword to attack him, but he tripped on the way, accidentally stabbing his sword into his stomach, and so he defeated his first goblin. Sylphie said, "You did great, but I think I should help next time." Just then, Kaito leveled up and was surprised to see that killing 1,000 slimes hadn't worked, but defeating just one goblin had already leveled him up. He then gained a new skill, Goblin Slayer, which would increase all his stats by 10% when fighting a goblin. They continue hunting goblins, and Kaito's stats gradually increase. Kaito asks Sylphie if she knows anything about the dungeon, but Sylphie says she doesn't know anything. She only knows that she has to be useful to her master. Kaito then visits Hitsugaya. She is amazed by the goblin course and praises him for collecting 4 on his first try. The next morning, Kaito's mother comes to wake him up, but he is so exhausted that even moving is difficult. On his way to school, he meets Haruka, and seeing his poor condition, she asks, "Did you go to the dungeon?" Kai says, "No, I've been going to the gym to build my body, and that's why my whole body is aching." Hearing this, Haruka smiles and says, "I don't think a muscular body suits your face." At school, he was telling his friends that he was now even killing goblins. Both of his friends were shocked to hear this. Kaito and Sylphie then went back to the dungeon, where they hunted numerous goblins and quickly reached level 10. With their stats increasing significantly. He also gained a new skill called God's Blessing. Seeing this, Kaito jumped with joy and bowed before Sylphie, believing it was all thanks to her. He went and held her hand, saying, "I'm so happy to have a servant like you." Sylphie replied, "Master, if you're happy, I'm happy too." While they were talking, a skeleton appeared, but this one was a little different. Its body was glowing, indicating it was a rare monster. Sylphie created a barrier between them, preventing the skeleton from breaking through, but Kai was able to attack it. But his attack doesn't harm Skeleton. Seeing this, Sylphie uses her divine lightning on him, knocking him out, but Skeleton only drops a core. He's a little disappointed as he thought he'd get a rare item from it. Just then, Sylphie says she's hungry. Kai notices that the core is red, meaning it could be rare, but he feeds it to her anyway. Sylphie is delighted to eat it and says it's tastier than a normal mana core. He then goes to Hitsugaya and asks her how much a red mana core can fetch. She tells him that a red core can fetch up to 2 million. Hearing this, Kai is shocked. That night when he goes to sleep, he's still grieving, but then he thinks that he was able to do so much with Sylphie's help, so she deserves to eat the red mana core, after which he wonders whether he should go to the 3rd floor or not. The next day, he tells Sylphie that this time he will go alone and asks Sylphie to stay behind and wait for him. Hearing this, Sylphie is shocked and nervously asks, "Master, did I do something wrong? If I did, please forgive me." Kai replies, "Calm down, sister. It's nothing like that. Actually, I'm thinking of going to the 3rd floor, but if I keep going with you, I'll never learn to fight on my own. That's why I want to improve myself. You've helped me so much, and I'm grateful for that." He further tells her that he doesn't treat her like a servant, but like his sister. Sylphie also says that she's very happy to have a master like Kai. Just then, a goblin appears before them, and Kai goes to fight alone. But the goblin also beats him up pretty badly, and to heal himself, he buys a healing potion from Hitsugaya. However, the healing potion was very expensive, and he came home thinking he needed to buy new gear and equipment. He then goes back to the 1st floor of the dungeon where he was killing slimes with bug spray. When his friends hear about this, they say, "You're killing slimes again?" Kaito replies, "Yes, I told him something." Just then, Haruka appears and asks, "Are you talking about slimes?" Kaito, alarmed, replies, No, not slimes. We're talking about slices. Slices of bread. Haruka believes him and leaves. We then see that he had collected a lot of cores and was about to buy equipment. But then Sylphie senses something. Upon reaching there, they see a silver-colored slime. Kaito attacks it directly with his spray gun, but it escapes. Sylphie then has to use her divine lightning on it. After it dies, Kaito finds another servant card, and he sees that it's a devil card. Kaito wonders if it's safe to summon a devil, but then he thinks he'll see what happens and begins summoning the devil. A fierce, fiery devil appears before them. It disappears after a while, and when he looks back, he sees that it has transformed into a sea devil, leaving him disappointed because it doesn't look like a servant at all. The devil says, "I don't think you deserve to be my master." Sylphie, afraid of him, hides behind Kaito. She timidly says, "You should respect our master." But Luceria says she doesn't really mean to offend him. She's just behaving like a devil. Lucy says she's hungry. Parakeet says, "Do something, sister." Just then, Sylphie tells them about a slime. Lucy summons her, Spare, and attacks it with a fireball, causing a massive explosion. Kaito then feeds her the magic core, but Lucy asks for another core. Kaito refuses, so Lucy calls him miserly. Then, Kaito asks Lucy to attack with her corrosive breath, in exchange for which he will give her a magic stone. Lucy uses her corrosive breath on a goblin, causing it to die in agony. The sight of this leaves both of them devastated. Lucy eats its core. Lucy likes its taste better than slime, so she tells Kaito that they should go deeper into the dungeon, because the stronger the monsters, the tastier their cores will be. But Kaito stops her and says, "Before we go in, we need to buy new equipment. You must be tired anyway." Lucy says she's not tired and insists they go back into the dungeon. Then, Sylphie says that Master is saying this because he cares about her. Lucy agrees. The next day, the three of them reach the 3rd floor of the dungeon, and this time, Kao has brought an expensive weapon. They spot 2 hellhounds. Kaito attacks them with his crossbow, but misses the target, and the 2 hounds start running towards him. Sylphie creates a barrier, and Lucy kills them both with her fire. Kaito gives each of them a core, but Lucy wanted both cores, because Lucy had defeated both Hellions. Kao refused, saying, "I'll give you more when you defeat more monsters." Lucy threatened him, "If you're lying, I'll send you straight to hell." 2 boars were about to attack them. Lucy tried to kill them, but one escaped and came forward. Kao then attacked him with his bow, hitting him in the eye. However, he continued to approach. Kao fell down in fear. Sylphie was about to help him, but just then, Kao shot another arrow which hit him in the head, killing him. Sylphie praised him, but Lucy said, "You're so scared you fell." Kao replied, "It's nothing like that. It was just my foot that got stuck." On the way back, Kao was thinking about how he hadn't made any money this time because Lucy kept asking for more courses. He overhears some girls talking about how they've already gone up to the 6th floor after a party, and he wonders if he'll be able to get there with Sylphie and Lucy. In the school, his friends ask, "Why are you so happy? We're torn between choosing a university, and looking at you, it seems you don't care." Haruka overhears their conversation and asks Kao which university he wants to attend, but Kao hadn't done any research. He says, "I'll go to whichever university you go to." Afterward, the 3 of them are monster hunting in the dungeon, but when Lucy eats all the courses, Sylphie's face is downcast. Kao asks her what happened, but Sylphie says nothing. At home, Kao watches a movie which makes him think Sylphie and Lucy are about to fight each other, and he has to do something to stop them. The next day, Haruka realizes he hasn't slept all night and asks him about his problem. Since he can't reveal the real problem, he explains that he has a friend who has 2 female friends with completely opposite personalities, and it seems the one with the best crush doesn't like the other. He asks Haruka for advice on what he should do. She tells him he should ask the one with the best crush how he feels. In the dungeon, Kao summons Sylphie and asks her if she hates Luceria. Sylphie says she was afraid of him at first, but has gradually grown to like him. But Kaito suspects she's hiding something. He tells her, "You're important to me, and I want you to tell me what you feel." Sylphie says he started giving Luceria more courses and talking to her less. Kaito understands that she's feeling jealous and promises to fix everything. He then praises Sylphie excessively in the dungeon, but this makes Lucy jealous, and she tells him to praise her too. Sylphie then kills a boar monster, leveling up. She then defeats 3 hellhounds with a single attack, and her barrier magic is significantly stronger than before. Luceria is about to kill the boar, but Kay says he wants wants to defeat it and shoots an arrow at it, defeating it. He gives Sylphie 2 courses and nothing to Luceria as she hadn't done anything. However, Sylphie asks for more because she's still hungry. On the way back, he mentions that his hunger has increased as he's leveled up, and when he reaches Hatsugaya, she also says, "You're gradually bringing fewer courses." After this, he returns to hunting slimes on the first floor. Luceria wants to help him, but Kay refuses, saying if they help him, he won't have any courses left to sell. Luceria asks, "Why did you summon us if you weren't going to use us?" Sylphie replies, "We're here to support them." Kotobi replies, "You're right. It's your support that gives me courage." Hizugaya is surprised to see that he's brought slime courses again, as he thought he'd be able to advance to the 4th level. However, he realizes his equipment is too weak for the 4th floor, so he searches for armor and weapons online. However, when he finds a suit he likes, it's too expensive. The next day, they spot a special slime and Kay tells them that they must defeat it no matter what. So both Sylphie and Lucy destroy the slime with their attacks. Kay thought he would get another servant card, but there was a magic orb. He was overjoyed to see it as it could help him fulfill his dream of becoming a wizard. He breaks the orb, giving him a water spell that he plans to test on a hellhound. He asks Sylphie to create a barrier and tells Lucy to intervene if anything goes wrong. He uses his magic to create a water ball that hits the hellhound, but it doesn't affect it. When he tries to attack them, Lucy defeats him. Meanwhile, Kay is saddened by his new spell's weakness and thinks it would have been better to sell it. That night, he meets Haruka and thanks her for her advice, as it solved the problem. Haruka believes the 2 girls will be his friends, but Kay reassures him that he was asking for advice for a friend. Haruka then says goodbye and leaves. He wonders if she's feeling jealous because of another girl, but then he remembers that she's a nerd. We then see him in the dungeon trying to improve his water spell and learn to transform. However, he becomes extremely exhausted and falls down. As he leaves the dungeon, he bumps into a girl named Ari. She tells him to take care of himself, and Kay apologizes and leaves. Seeing her, she understands that he's been working hard in his training, so the 3 of them decide to hunt as many monsters as they can. Meanwhile, Kay is sleeping in class, but when the teacher wakes him up, he shouts, "Yes, master, now I will train even more." The whole class bursts into laughter. His friends then ask what he's training for. Kay explains that he wants to improve his water ball so he can defeat monsters. Haruka overhears him and asks, "Are you training to go to the dungeon?" Kay replies, "No, I'm just training for dancing." Haruka agrees, telling him to train within limits. Frustrated, Kay attacks the goblin with a water ball that gets stuck in his mouth, preventing him from breathing, and he dies within a short time. Seeing this, they both praise him for using his brain. KO, however, is worried that he hasn't leveled up in a while, because he's no longer receiving experience points from the monsters on the 3rd floor. This means they must now go to the 4th floor. For this, KO buys the same armor. Sylphie likes it, but Lucy finds it very unsightly. KO explains that it protects her body, but the material is very thin, so she'll definitely feel pain. He also bought a bracelet that can improve her spells, but he hasn't tested it yet. They all reach the 4th floor, but then Sylphie senses a dangerous monster. Then a terrifying cockroach appears before them. Seeing this, the 2 girls panic and attack the cockroach with all their might. KO realizes he was left behind and starts running towards them. We then see them on the 5th floor just as KO arrives. Sylphie cries, saying they were scared, and apologizes for attacking without his permission, but KO says he's not angry at them. It was because of them that he was able to clear the 4th floor so quickly. He also collected all the cockroaches, roaches. He feeds them the roaches, but they don't like the taste at all. Then as they advance to the 5th floor, they see monsters made of sand and mud. He shoots his arrows at them, but they don't work because the monsters are immune to physical damage. So he asks for Lucy's help, and Lucy uses Hellfire to destroy both monsters. And KO realizes that to defeat monsters of this level, he'll need both of them. Then, as they're going inside the organ, Sylphie stops and says she's sensing something behind the wall. She destroys the wall, revealing a secret passage. They all begin going inside, and KO tells them to be careful, as they don't know what's hidden inside. But then Lucy activates a trap and an arrow hits KO, causing him to writhe in pain. They continue onward, but Lucy activates another trap. When KO tries to dodge the arrow, he receives an electric shock. However, nothing serious happens. They then reach a door. KO tries to open it, but it won't budge. He thinks they might need an item. But Sylphie attacks and destroys the door. As they go inside, they enter. They spot 2 boss monsters. They decide to defeat Ogre first. The 2 girls attack Ogre with their magic and then discover that magic doesn't affect him. Ogre leaps out to attack them. Sylphie shields them with her barrier. He tells Lucy to go and kill the slime and attacks Ogre with arrows, depleting his health. However, his arrows quickly run out. He realizes that Lucy is also having trouble because the slime is also immune to magic. He uses his water ball, but it turns into ice, likely due to the bracelet. When he shoots this ice at Ogre, it reduces his health. However, his mana quickly runs out and he can only shoot 3 times. So he transforms the water balls into spikes and aims them directly at the Ogre's head, defeating it. Meanwhile, the slime is about to attack Lucy when KO shields her, but his shield quickly melts. Sylphie uses her divine spear to blast a large hole through the slime's center. However, even this attack doesn't do much to the slime. KO considers running away, but then he thinks of Captain Katsuragi and thinks, "If I keep running like this, I'll never be a hero." He then attacks the slime with his spray gun while Sylphie is protecting KO from its attack. He takes out his spray gun and continues spraying the slime, killing it. The girls celebrate, but the poor fellow was injured, so all his wounds start hurting. He then drinks a potion and heals all his injuries, but then Lucy levels up and KO realizes he's reached level 15. Feeling like he can now catch up with the other explorers. He then notices that Ogre dropped a red core, and in the slime he finds a magic sword, but it looks more like a knife than a sword. When he goes to sell the core, Hasagaya asks him where he got it, and he tells her about a hidden dungeon. Hasagaya says she'll send someone to investigate, and since he took a special magic core, its value has not been specified yet, she'll pay him handsomely. She then invites him to an event where explorers form parties to explore the 7th floor, to which KO agrees. Later, while at school, he was boasting to his friends that now that he was about to clear the quest, he could go to an event where he could party with the other explorers. But then Haruka arrives and asks, "Are you all talking about a dance party?" They assure him that KO is going to participate in one. Haruka says she wants to go too. Then KO arrives at the event where he was looking for his party members. Then the same 3 girls appear before him, revealing their names one by one, and KO also reveals his name. The 3 girls, however, were unable to recognize KO